I'm Andrew Rohr. I go to Bel Air High School, and I will be attending Texas Tech in the fall. Guns up. I was born in Kansas City into a Christ-loving family. I have 2 brothers and 1 sister, and we attended church regularly. I was brought up knowing that Jesus is right and that David killed Goliath with a slingshot. But that was it as far as my faith was concerned. When I was about 9, my parents got divorced and my mom remarried, so we had to move to Houston. After 2 years of flying my brother and me back and forth from Kansas City, my dad moved to Houston to be closer to us. My dad always did his best to support us however he could. It was April my freshman year when my dad was diagnosed with ALS, or Lou Gehrig's disease, which is a disease that kills your motor neurons and weakens your muscles. I didn't really think anything of it because my dad was always the strong one that could fix anything, but it didn't go away. I remember walking into his office sometime over the summer, and I could see that he had a can of cream corn in his left hand, and he couldn't even lift it to his shoulder. After that moment, I realized that this wasn't something that could be fixed overnight by taking an Advil. This was serious. My father was a very strong Christian and never once thought that God was going to let the disease get the best of him. But on February 10th, 2010, my dad passed away. In the middle of my sophomore year in high school, things were falling apart. I was so confused. This man who had been there my whole life, who had supported me, who had loved me, was no longer there. Things only got worse. My dad's stuff got sold before I really had a chance to say what I wanted. My dad had a truck that was very special to me because I had so many memories in it. And when I was younger, I would always think that it would be my first car. But unfortunately, it got sold before I could tell anyone that I wanted it. I still only have a handful of items to remember him by. It was also hard watching my mom go through the loss of the father of her children, but she stayed strong, and she really encouraged me to be strong. I didn't know who to go to. I tried alcohol, I tried drugs, but every time I would do it, I would only think of how ashamed my dad would be of me if he knew what I was doing. So I stopped. A couple months later, one of my best friends, Ben Barnes, invited me to go to the weekly accountability group that he goes to. And that eventually got me to start going to church. I don't really know of a definite time where I decided to give everything over to Jesus, but after going to church for a few months, I noticed an uncontrollable joy in my life. I now had a reason to live, and that reason is Jesus. He filled the empty gaps in my life. In Psalm 68:5, it says that Jesus is a father to the fatherless. I have experienced this firsthand. After my father passed away, I felt lonely, and Jesus was there to be my father and comfort me. Thank you. That is my testimony.